Bitcoin to $1 million, Dogecoin to $3,200 now. I'm fine, folks, I'm fine. Don't panic. I know it looks like I've gone crazy since the last video, but that's not true. I've been crazy since I was born. However, this has nothing to do with that. There is a story behind this, and it's not mine. It's coming from a man thought to be Satoshi Nakamoto. In fact, it's coming from Gen 3's CEO Samson Mow. Actually, let's start from the beginning. The story goes like this. Samson Mow is the chief executive of Bitcoin technology company Gen 3 and an advisor to El Salvador during its adoption of Bitcoin. He and his company are working, among other things, to bring Bitcoin closer to governments around the world and get it adopted. So his next step is to meet the new president of Argentina, Javier Milei. Milei, who promised to disband central bank over the hyperinflation Argentina is facing, said earlier this year that Bitcoin represents the return of money to its original creator, the private sector. Yes, you heard that right. The president plans to abolish the central bank, a reversal of sorts in a financial system that has been run by central banks since at least the 17th century. Since then, those institutions have progressively acquired a monopoly over the issuance of banknotes. Since modern banknotes are not backed by precious metals, governments print money according to their will, or rather according to their assessment of how much money they need to stay in power. Of course, the result is inflation. Some were smaller, some were larger, and some were so big that the whole country is on the verge of starvation. So as we see, Milei decided to end that central bank monopoly in Argentina. It seems that his decision was so incredible that many doubted it, and even some rumors spread. In response to that, the official office of President Milei wrote a press release on November 24th, in which, among other things, they said that the closure of the central bank is not negotiable. So, this is not a joke. The world is shifting, and as always, change starts with those who are in the most difficult situation, who have nothing left to lose. After El Salvador and after discussions with the Mexican Senate and Costa Rican government officials, this Argentina Bitcoin optimism, as well as the expected Bitcoin spot ETF, has led Samson Mow to predict that the price of the coin will reach $1 million in a matter of days, weeks, after the ETF. Of course, many people think it's crazy and impossible to happen in such a short period of time. I bet there are many of you out there who think this prediction of his is just propaganda, aimed at getting as many people as possible to buy it. My guess is that Samson wouldn't be upset if the disbelief only comes from those who don't have Bitcoin. Because, you know, everyone cheers for what they have in their wallet, while simultaneously devaluing what they don't. But seeing that even Bitcoin holders think it's a frivolous story, Samson doubled down. So 2 days ago he wrote, "It has come to my attention that there are some Bitcoiners that don't think Bitcoin can reach $1 million in a matter of days, weeks, after ETF money starts to flow in. They're in for a pleasant surprise." Since this also failed to convince Bitcoiners, Samson tripled down with a new post with a mathematical proof. If you think I'm crazy for $1 million Bitcoin, please meet Hal. As an amusing thought experiment, imagine that Bitcoin is successful and becomes the dominant payment system in use throughout the world. Then the total value of the currency should be equal to the total value of all the wealth in the world. Current estimates of total worldwide household wealth that I have found range from $100 trillion to $300 trillion. With 20 million coins, that gives each coin a value of about $10 million. So the possibility of generating coins today with a few cents of compute time may be quite a good bet, with a payoff of something like 100 million to 1. Even if the odds of Bitcoin succeeding to this degree are slim, are they really 100 million to 1 against? Something to think about. Hal. If you haven't been in Bitcoin since the beginning, you are probably wondering, who the heck is Hal? Hal Finney was the man who received the first Bitcoin transaction from Satoshi Nakamoto. While no one actually knows who Satoshi is, many think it's Hal. He worked on the development of Bitcoin since its inception, and this message of his that Samson posted was written on January 11th, 2009. It's interesting, though, that Hal wrote that there are 20 million bitcoins, leaving out the 1 million belonging to Satoshi. Yeah, that leaves room for speculation. Unfortunately, Hal Finney died in 2014. I personally don't know why Samson used this post by Hal as evidence for his claim that the Bitcoin price will reach $1 million in a matter of days, weeks. But regardless, I'll bite and show why another scenario is more possible. We'll first apply this math to the new data, which is quite different from the 2009. According to the UBS Global Wealth Report 2023, total net private wealth at the end of 2022 was $454.4 trillion. This means that in a scenario where the whole world accepted Bitcoin, its price today would be $22,720,000 per coin, not counting Satoshi's Bitcoin purely to use the numbers Hal used. In the same scenario, the price of Dogecoin would be around $3,200 today, using the current supply of almost 142 billion. You're probably wondering why I put Dogecoin here. Well, that's because there is something very important in financial logic that we will now cover. The expected growth of total net wealth in the next 5 years, now 4 as we are at the end of 2023, is almost 40%, which means that in 2027, total net wealth will be $629 trillion. The price of Bitcoin in the same scenario would then be $31,450,000. But the price of Dogecoin in 2027 would be around $3,882. If we assume that wealth will grow again by 40% in a period of 5 years after 2027, this means that the total net wealth in 2032 will be $880.6 trillion. Then the price of Bitcoin would be more than $44 million, and the Dogecoin price would then be about $4,700. As we can see, starting with the price of Bitcoin and Dogecoin in this scenario, where one or the other coin is accepted by the whole world, the price of Bitcoin would rise almost 100%, and the price of Dogecoin would rise about 47% by 2032. This difference, of course, comes from the fact that Dogecoin, unlike Bitcoin, has a fixed inflation of 5 billion coins per year. Financial logic dictates the following. A rational actor, I repeat, a rational actor, not Bitcoin or Dogecoin maxi, would not want to accept only one or the other coin. The rise in the price of Bitcoin due to the fixed supply would make a rational actor not want to spend it in everyday life for bread or shoes, which means that he will try to accumulate and save it as much as possible. So Bitcoin hoarding would have the effect of sending world economies into a period of slow growth, which is not sustainable in the long run as it would cause high unemployment. On the other hand, if Bitcoin can double his wealth every 10 years, a rational actor would not want Dogecoin, growing at 47% every decade, to be his only option. The new president of Argentina seems to understand this, which is why he actually plans to allow any currency people want to be used in his country, including Dogecoin. Without going into the economic finesse, looking from this perspective only, it seems that the ideal scenario is for the world to accept both Bitcoin and Dogecoin, because those two coins complement each other. One has what the other does not.